What is up, everybody? Dan the Fireman here. This is DDFM Crew Report 002. We're going to be talking about e-bikes and motorcycles, what the MTC Rider Academy is about, the ride-along with Dan the Fireman, the raw DDFM videos that we're going to be posting again, and then we actually have a new plan method. This is going to be that road strategy acronym, whatever you want to call it, to where you can actually understand what's going on. Timestamps will be in the description. Quick shout out to all of the MTC Rider Academy cadets and members. You guys get to see this early, so thank you so much. Anyways, so I just want to jump into it. So e-bikes and motorcycles. This channel has been mainly, or what we do here mainly, is motorcycles. Motorcycle training concepts. But the thing is, the Smart Rider principles can be applied to cars. You can be walking, your dog, and still practice, situational awareness, fundamental skills of putting foot in front of the other. Bicycles apply to the Smart Rider principles, and now there's e-bikes out there. We've been playing around with e-bikes quite a bit. I have 5 of them, and different models, different makes, go pretty fast. Some have good brakes, some have mirrors, some have turn signals, some have horns and lights and whatnot, and you can go pretty fast, about 30, even more, 30 miles an hour. And right now, there's no real regulations or anything like that. There's no licensing. The only real regulation is that you're only supposed to go a certain speed, but nobody really checks it. There's not enough enforcement, blah, blah, blah. And they're starting to get more and more inexpensive. The juiced bike that I got, I think it was around $2,300. Super 73s are about $4,500. And then now there's e-bikes out there that are like $1,000. And that sounds like a lot, but a regular bicycle, a mountain bike, a really good one, we're talking well over $500 just for that. And so if you add a little bit extra, you get something that can actually pedal for you for the most part. So we're going to start seeing some kids, start seeing some adults commuting, kids commuting with an e-bike to school, adults commuting with e-bikes to work. So you're going to start to see a lot of that stuff, and we're going to start seeing some casualties, some fatalities with that, especially at those speeds, because there's no real regulation for what kind of gear you should get. So that's where the Smart Rider principles really come in. So that's why I'm going to pivot a little bit. We're going to include e-bikes into the motorcycle training that we do, because there is the motorized motorized aspect to it. And I don't want to see kids crash and get hurt. It's one thing with an adult, but I think it's like a failure on the parent to, keep their kids safe if they're giving them an e-bike and it's like, don't worry about a helmet. No. There is some mountain biking gear, so elbows and knee pads. There's some full face helmets for mountain bikes, and I've been playing around with some of that stuff. So you'll see a little bit more about that. So we're gonna be jumping in a little bit of e-bikes into Smart Rider drills. I'm gonna be doing some Smart Rider stuff, some ride along with Dan and the Fireman with an e-bike. It's gonna be somewhat a little bit boring, but for the most part, we're gonna find a way to make it work, because you're not going super fast. You're not dealing with a lot of traffic sometimes. It's mainly going to be the road surface hazards, uncommon thing in a common situation, a lot of in neighborhood and like kind of riding to school type stuff. So we're gonna be seeing a little bit more of that. E-bikes, they're starting to jump out there. So let's go ahead and get some training for that. So the next thing I want to talk about is what the MTC Rider Academy is about. First and foremost, I follow these principles here: awareness, accountability, action. The 3 A's for me. You have to be aware of the problem. You have to understand, like, hey, there's an actual problem. You can't be in denial. You can't just like look around and be like, oh, yeah, everything's fine. You have to be accountable to it. So if you're part of the problem, be accountable, be humble, accept that you're a part of it. How can we solve it? Accountable to the situation. Is something else happening that is causing an issue for you? Start to speak up. Start to understand that there needs to be some changes. And then the action part. So it's one thing, be like, hey, I'm aware of the problem. Yeah, I'm a part of the problem. And then you don't do anything about it. That's a big problem in itself. So having an action plan, moving forward, and actually doing something. So first and foremost, we have Smart Rider principles, but then my own personal way of doing things: awareness, accountability, and action. So that kind of plays into it. So we can be aware of the Smart Rider principles, but are you accountable to them? Are you actually being situation aware? Are you acquiring and using personal protective equipment? Are you actually training to rescue somebody? Okay, be accountable to that. Let's go ahead and do some action. Let's go ahead and actually go train. And I can sit here and say, go ahead and do it, but not provide anything. That's me being a terrible leader. So what I want to do with the MTC Rider Academy is that is like the Fire Academy. That is going to be the training organization for motorcycle training concepts. So think of, I'm going to just say it, Yuma Fire Department, Northwest Fire District, the two places that I worked for. That is motorcycle training concepts. MTC Rider Academy is the Fire Academy, EMT Academy, Swiftwater Rescue training, like all the little schools. It's like the school involved. And inside that school is going to be, hazmat awareness, TRT awareness, all these other things inside of it. So the MTC Rider Academy, the goal is to build capable humans instead of just good riders. So I want service to the community. It starts with serving yourself, though. So you need to actually get physical and mental fitness going. Constantly trying to learn. So continuing education. You need to get your fundamental motorcycle skills, but then the fundamental rescue skills. So we're gonna be working on aggressive and basic medical training. So I don't think we need to understand high-end advanced training like cricoid. Getting the cric going, getting IO, IV access, needle decompression. We don't need to do all those things. Plus, we can't. Part of our scope of practice and what we can do as a lifesaver out in the world is mainly going to be the basic stuff. And I want to develop a small local team. So here we have a small local team here. It's just two of us, Nathan and I, two instructors. Start to build out a small little team, but then I want you to be able to do that. And part of the Smart Rider principles, teaching and mentoring. So I want to be able to give you give you resources, give you access to what we're doing, so that you can actually build a small team. And I'm talking like maybe 3 or 4. And after that, it starts the span of control is 3 to 7. So you can only really control 3 to 7 people. And after 7, it gets a little bit unruly. You're going to need another instructor. So hopefully we're going to get more people like that. But that's what I'm going to be doing with the MTC Rider Academy. That's the main focus going forward. We're starting to really build things out, so we're able to separate certain things. Dan and the Fireman is typically going to be the community-based, Bill Nye the Science Guy type feel, where we're just having a good time, but we're also learning. The Motorcycle Training Concepts is the actual organization that we're building out, and that is going to be more academic, more serious, more, hey, we have instructors coming in, we got some training to do, we're being serious about it, we're going to spend some time and try to develop you as a human being. And the MTC Rider Academy is right where you jump in. That's where it is, because Motorcycle Training Concepts also has the shop and everything. The academy is mainly it's only for learning. So that's what it's going to be about. We're working on some really cool things here. We got a lot of courses on there. The MTC Rider Academy itself, if you want to join up right now, it's only $4.99 the first month, $9.99 a month after that, so $9.99. In 2023, it's going to go up because we have a whole new basic training coming in, Smart Rider Fitness. We're going to be working on so many other things, but right now, it's an archive of all the DDFM, not DDFM crew, DDFM crash and close call after action reviews, the DDFM crew report, which is here. We have the Smart Rider Basic Training MTC library, which has all the downloads for everything, Smart Rider drills, my Smart Rider Basic Training ebook, and a bunch of other stuff, the rescue stuff. We have so much more, so much more. Think of it as a support for the channel. You're supporting this vision that we have going on. So I really do appreciate it. You do join. But we got some new things coming in 2023 I'm excited about. The next thing we're going to talk about is the ride along with Dan and the Fireman. So this is going to be the back in the day, what I used to do all the time, and I love doing it. It's just that I've been out of the loop when it comes to motorcycles. I got new gear. I had to get new gear. It's been about 5 years. So I got jacket, pants, boots. I got some good gloves still, and I'm going to be replacing my helmet in about a year. But I had to fix up my bike a little bit. Haven't been riding it. Terrible, I know. So we're going to be getting back into the ride along with Dan and the Fireman. This is going to be that road strategy, the on the bike, pointing things out while I'm riding. You notice how I can talk and talk and talk. It's easy for me to grab visuals and point it out and vocalize it. So I'm going to get back into that. These are going to be about 5 to 15-minute videos. I'm going to be going up and down different streets in Tucson. And then we might actually be going out of town for some things. But for now, I got a plan, a written film plan for at least 5 videos. So we're going to be getting back into that. So we're going to be pointing out, sides of the vehicle. We have the merging issue, so big open lane. We're going to have a bunch of different things. So we're going to be pointing out orange stage, yellow stage. Hopefully I don't have to go into red stage. Hopefully I never go into brown stage, and I'm going to be in white. I'm not going to be in white stage. There you go. I'm not going to be in white stage because I'm going to be actually pointing things out while I'm vocalizing it. I think that's a little bit safer than doing like a moto vlog where you're thinking of something else. You're thinking of a story and not riding. For me, this is like my version of a motovlog where I'm focused on pointing out the hazards So it's not just me thinking and watching. I'm pointing them out. It's like reading your notes that you've already taken, and then recording yourself talking about your notes and listening to your notes. To me, it's another way to reinforce what I'm doing. So I'm hoping I can bring that to you and point things out. So that's why it's called ride along, because you guys are going to ride along with me. So we're gonna be doing that. Can't wait to get back into it. It's not meant to be instruction, but it's gonna be showing the plan method, which we got a whole new, not a whole new. It's a revised plan method. I developed the plan method, which let's go ahead and talk about that right now. I revised the plan method back. I first created it about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, for the Smart Writer Basic Training ebook, and it was based off the OODA loop. So observe, orient, decide, and act. And it's a way of deciding in stressful situations, and then also going right back to where you have to make adjustments based off of the environment. Didn't really work too much. I mean, it's for fighter pilots, so it kind of worked. But to me, I've always been in this mode of you need to put yourself in a position for success first. First. Before you even get on the bike, you need to understand what's going on. When you get on the bike, you need to understand what's going on. You should already be oriented. So I feel like that to me is kind of a big thing. So I revised it a little bit based off of the TECC training that I had recently. I really wanted to hyper focus on situations and threats because it's very important. So let's go ahead and just go right into it. So the new plan method, it's position for safety. That's the same thing. Locate hazardous situations. That's different than locate hazards. Hazardous situations. So we're talking intersections, corners, and lane filtering as an example. Assess relevant threats. That's different than adapt to perceived hazards. So adapting was just kind of moving lanes, and that was kind of the situation. But it was a little bit too close to the end portion was navigate threats. So this one's going to be navigate active threats. So adapting to hazards, navigate threats is a little too close, and it's kind of combined at that point. So I feel like I was wasting an A or an N. So now we're going to assess. So position for safety is kind of like the orient and observe, orient, decide, and act, the OODA loop. Locate hazardous situations is the observe. So I just flipped those. Decide, so assessing relevant threats. Act, so navigate active threats. So planning your ride, the plan method. Plan and method, kind of the same definition. So it's kind of redundant. So it's whatever. It is what it is. But I made it to be where you're planning, you're going to plan your ride. So position for safety, first and foremost, create a space cushion around you. So you're going to position yourself to where you don't have a lot of people around you. You're going to establish some escape routes. So when you have that space cushion, great. Do you have a way to escape in case something in front of you gets in front of you, or becomes a threat? Can you escape to the left? Can you escape to the right? Can you accelerate through? Can you brake in time? That's why you have that space cushion. Another thing is maintaining line of sight. You want to be able to see as far as possible, because if you can't see the hazard, you can't see very far at all, you're in a very bad situation where something can jump out at you and surprise you, cause you to go into brown stage. So that's why you want to position for safety. Create the space cushion, establish escape routes, maintain good line of sight. You're positioned for those things. Now that we're positioned for those things, we're constantly moving around. Since you have good line of sight, you have good space cushion, you have escape routes, now let's start locating hazardous situations. Not hazardous, not locate hazards, but situations, because that's really important. We start to recognize a lot of patterns when we're riding motorcycles. So we're talking intersections, corners, lane filtering, and like I said, this is situations. It's not active or relevant threats like pedestrians, roadway users. That's the next one. So locate hazardous situations. Already we can see the lights coming up. It's an intersection going to orange stage. Already prepped and ready for it. We don't know exactly what the threat is, but this is a hazardous situation. So we're going to be prepared for it. So now we're positioned for safety. We're located the hazardous situation. So we're covering our brakes going into an intersection. We're now positioning ourselves better again for a good line of sight. We're looking for escape paths and escape routes. Now we're going to get into assess relevant threats. So we're coming up to the intersection. Do we have any road surface hazards? Do we have any roadway users? So left turners, somebody stopping in front of you. It's a big open lane. Maybe they want to switch out of the left turn lane, get into your lane. Is there animals in this intersection? Is there any pedestrians trying to make it across? So now we're starting to assess, is there something there? And so we already know we're in a good position. We already know that we're covering our brakes in orange stage. We have that gut feeling something's might happen because this is a situation where it's typical for motorcycle riders to crash. Now, is there any of these threats? Side of the vehicle, left turners, big open lane type feel? Like, what's going on? What's going on? So now we're searching for those. We're actually assessing, are they there? Now, let's say something does happen. Now we have to navigate an active threat. Okay, so we have to navigate it. So what do? We can swerve, progressive brake, engine brake, acceleration, change lane position. So when I talked about awareness, accountability, action, so we're going to be aware of the situation. We're going to be accountable for what we can do and what position we're in. Got to take action. Okay, it's one thing to actually assess it and see it and then panic and freeze up. And then we go into brown stage. We might have to go into red stage. So the whole thing, position for safety, we're constantly doing that. We're locating hazardous situations. We're constantly doing that. We're assessing relevant threats in those situations. We're constantly doing that. Navigating active threats, might not have to. Might not have to. So, but we're constantly moving back. Hey, we're positioned for safety, located hazardous situations, reposition. Assess relevant threats, reposition. Assess relevant threats. Might have to navigate active ones. So we're constantly moving around, constantly doing this. And this is going to keep you in that yellow stage. Yellow, orange, orange, yellow, 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 orange, yellow, orange. Maybe red, but we're never going to be in white stage. We're going to try not to be in brown stage. And this is what I'm going to be doing. So with Ride Along with Dan and the Fireman, pointing out the whole new plan method, we're going to constantly be aware. We're going to take accountability for our own actions. And then we got to actually act, though. Okay, so practice, train, be smart riders. We have to actually go out there and maintain the fundamental skills, part of smart. Come on. So that's the main thing here. That's the main goal for the next coming week. This is what we're doing. We're constantly building this out. The MTC Rider Academy is blowing up. We got hundreds and hundreds of new students. So if you guys want to join now, please join. You get to see all this stuff early. You get to see the Smart Rider Tips articles early. We got the newsletter going out every Monday. We have so much going on. 10,000 people in the Discord server, and that's free, by the way. So check it out. Links are in the description for everything. But once again, quick shout out to the MTC Rider Academy cadets and members. I like to call you guys cadets. You're still learning. We're all cadets. We're still learning. Thank you so much for supporting. You see this early. Little clips go out elsewhere. But with that said, I got to get back to work. I'm out here. I'm taking a quick break. And I'll see you guys around.